We are going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. It is January 29th, 2020. This is the ContribEx Triage meeting. I'm your host, Marky, and before we get started, we do have a code of conduct that needs to be nice to one another. And that is that for the beginning. If you give me a second, I will bring up the notes, which I don't know if I have right off the top of my. I actually don't even think we've created notes for this yet. So Arnaud is not here today. He can't be here. And I think that was one of his action items, just to actually start creating notes. So I'm going to add to the contributor experience notes. Give me just a second, and I'll bring that up.
I think I just added there, Marky. That looks okay.
Say again?
I think I just added it in the agenda. It's the same agenda, right? The one we were using for ContribEx. So.
What do you mean you just added it?
Isn't that we're using the same agenda and notes we were using the ContribEx?
Yes.
So I just put in the top January 29th ContribEx issue.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I was still trying to bring up the notes. I couldn't bring it up yet. Sorry.
No, what you say.
Okay. All right. That is up. I will put everybody should have that, but I'll put a lazy link. So we do not have, our last meeting was the 15th. We were waiting to do a triage session that is still in the works. I know Arnon was going to get that set up. I may need to make a note here. I may need to take that and can I actually, excuse me, I apologize. Can I get a note taker?
I'll try to add that.
Thank you. I started doing the notes with the triage session, but it'll be easier to do. And apologize for seeming like I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. It's because I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Okay, so one of the things that we need to do is we need to start doing sessions so we can look at how to triage these issues. I think what we could do right now is walk the board. Does anybody have any suggestions in regards to that?
Which board are you looking to walk?
Well, I was looking at the contributor site board, but I don't know if that, I think that's largely been, let me share my screen. Let me drop a link here, a link to this board. So what we were trying to do the last session was go over on the contributor site board and start to triage some of these issues. And then there is now to see where we can get things done prior to the KubeCon for the contributor site. But one of the problems we were having is that everybody sort of does the triaging differently. So we wanted to sort of create a session on how to triage issues. And so here's like a good one, but I'm not sure. This one is still largely open.
There is activity going on in there. I actually need to sync on that one.
Okay, let me just do something here. So do you know who's actually working on this? So one of the things that we were, let me Pulp Fiction for a second. In part of triaging, it's to understand who's actually going to own a given issue. So for example, this one we know is open and it's not assigned to anyone. So that is something part of triaging. When we do a session, the session will be, these are some of the things you have to look at. Is it open? Is there any corresponding issues? For example, there's a corresponding issue here. You can see that this is closed, but now we want to see, does this really doesn't correspond to what we're doing here. So Bob, do you know who we could assign this to, or who is actually working?
Laura was looking into it. She is not, I don't believe she's a member of Kubernetes or Kubernetes SIGs yet, so she can't actually be assigned the task. I need to talk to her about it.
Okay, so I'll hold off on this.
She was at a conference last week, and we didn't have a chance to talk.
Okay, I'll hold off on this one. Let's see, another one, contributor changelog and news. This one is also not assigned to anyone. I'm not sure how much. So. This is the same thing, I think.
Yep.
For Laura as well. So I will leave that alone. So let's see, what else do we have?
Those were things she was researching.
Okay. This might be the same. Yeah, same thing. But let's see.
So the backstory behind this is that it was like all this content is ingested in a unwieldy bash script I wrote, and long term we should rewrite it in either Go or Python. Right now, no one is assigned. It's just sort of in the backlog.
And what does this script do?
So content that is external to the contributor site repo, it pulls it in, adjusts all the links, so that way it will actually work on the contributor site. So things like the contributor guide have a bunch of links, and all those links would break if we pulled that content in. So this is like a whole slew of regular expressions and some other magic to fix the links.
So this would do, now this is going to be, so this needs to be done before KubeCon.
No, this one doesn't. This is just a long-term replacement.
I'm just going to add that comment in there. So Bob, if you want, I can work with you on this. And I think really I could do the light if you're okay. Which is your preference? I would prefer this was being Go.
Yeah, I was looking at Go as the replacement. The one problem that Go has is that their like regex library, RE2 doesn't support look ahead or look behind assertions. There is another PCRE compatible like regex library that might work. The other alternative would be to I think it's called Gold Markdown. There's a library out there that we might be able to essentially use and have it do its like function to basically find links when it normally renders Markdown. So instead of us having to write something, we can.
I'm going to take this because I think I can write this code with ease. I mean, the libraries may be a small problem, but I think we might be able to get around that.
Okay.
Would you be okay with that? Does anybody have any objections to that, or is everybody like, do it?
No, it's looking for an owner right now. I don't have the time for it.
I can take this. Okay.
I can talk more about we can talk more about the details of all that later.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this code looks fairly straightforward. And I just really kind of have to convert this into Go. And I can do that. I'm not afraid of that. Let's see. Homepage needs content.
I think this one can actually be closed. Because before it was a blank page.
You say this is all done?
So we put like the home page was blank before, and
Oh, but has all of the things been put on the page? I don't think it has. I know the events you said is there. So is this issue sort of the umbrella issue for the page content?
it looks like it's more or less the page itself and more so the entire site.
Yeah, so then this maybe should stay open.
Yeah, I would probably retitle it like as content instead, or I can edit the issue. I have the rights to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that should be mostly closed. Like, and just creating like a new issue kind of thing, like out of Josh's comment and putting maybe that into the project board area that's like future parking lot ideas or whatever it is.
A lot of it has actually been like broken out already and mostly done.
Okay. I agree as well.
I'd be fine with closing it.
Yeah. I mean, we know it has to ship with the homepage, so.
I'm going to just go ahead and do a close on it. I think I should be able to do that. Okay, wow, one down. Revamp contributors guide section. That we know is still in progress.
Yeah, this has just been cross-referenced with the issue in K community.
Yep, okay, leave that. Dev.
Yeah, I can be assigned to this one. I should be the owner. My creative is mostly just me jotting down as a note. Need to remember to do this.
Okay. I think this is still link. This is links to other sites as sort of a guideline. What do you think? You think this could be closed?
For now, I just leave it open as the like collection of source links and things like that.
Okay. I think, is Rin on the call? Rin, you there?
I'm here. Yep.
This one is with you. Content stuff to surface for new contributors.
Yeah, can you scroll down for me? Sorry, I'm trying to read all that.
No worries, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I have to sync back up with Paris on that. I don't really know where that's at.
Okay.
This is just an issue that needs to be trimmed into features. So this is like, I guess maybe if we, I don't know, anything that says content with the brackets means that it needs to be trimmed into features and pages pretty much, because like all the stuff in the brackets is from focus groups and strategy sessions and stuff like that, like based off persona building. Remember, Marky, that's why I was like, oh, we've done all this persona building. Like for instance, like new contributors, and like Visha's really hardcore on this too. Like she really thinks that the development MD file specifically should be surfaced, and based on both survey data and even like GitHub data that we have, that's like one of the most popular docs. So like that we know should be surfaced as is, right? Where like, you know, Bob and everybody else were talking about like, you know, doing like canonical links in places and certain things for like to surface some, but like that's one doc that we are like, we should surface entirely. Things like that. So like that's where this issue needs some love, is how can we pull some of this out and start putting it on like parking lots and like next iterations of the website and things like that. This is where I personally also need some help as well. Like I won't lie, like I'm not that experienced with like advanced project management for web development here. Like this is where like I'm like waving my little flag. Hey, I did the research.
I think
That's where I'm at with this too. I'm waving a flag too, because I don't know. This is way above my project management level.
So-
It seems like
hey,
seven
wave a
different
flag.
tasks.
I think a lot of this is actually mostly just fleshing out the contributor guide more and making the contributor guide itself a better resource.
I agree with you, but not. And the not is, we know right there from that research what specific things need to be surfaced. Like so, like we're like I feel like
So-
we already know from that large thing, right? All of the stuff that needs to be surfaced, right?
So I think what's largely needed here is on the contributor site, we need, so let's see, how should I get started? What should I do? On the contributor site, this would be a page. And within that page, there would be this level of
Yeah,
documentation.
so all that is currently being done in the like getting broken out in the contributor guide itself. Like the README is getting broken out into different sections with like, you know, getting started and some of the other things there. So
Okay.
as long as the guide itself is updated, like to have this information and us syncing over the contributor guide, it should knock like most of those out. And I think like in the contributor guide itself, there is a thing for help wanted. The other thing, and I've talked with Vish about this, is like, you know, outside of surfacing the contributor guide itself and improving the workflow, that, you know, like breaking apart the big README, is that we can have our own sort of persona-driven page in addition to the contributor guide on the site. So that way, it's just like, you know, I am a, you know, new contributor. I want to get started with writing, you know, documentation. Here is a link to this. I want to get started with, you know, I want to do a PR to KK. Here is the developer guide.
Right.
We can have both of those. That's not too hard. But I think, like, at least in the you know, interim, as long as we beef up and sort out the contributor guide itself and make the README, instead of being, you know, the one big long page, it's sort of being, you know, you're interested in this, go here, interested in this, go here, and link to like everything. That should cover most of our stuff. The things that would lack is a lot of the, like, you know, mentoring information.
That I can help with.
Yeah, I mean, that like this needs, like the mentoring pieces need to be a page. So this is what I'm saying. Like this needs to come out and make a new issue. Like in my opinion, we should keep all of this research, and then I don't know if you want to like freeze it or whatever, but I would keep it, and then once the contributor guide stuff is done, make sure that you go back to this issue and say, okay, is it clear from the contributor guide that we've covered all of this? Like, is this answering those questions, right?
Yeah. Rin, if you'd like, I can put myself as an assignee on this, and then I kind of have an understanding of what we need to do. I could do it from the mentoring part, and then we could pair, you could watch me, and then we could pair to do from this top part. And that way we're both sort of helping each other get it done. Would that make sense?
That would be good because I don't have the bandwidth to do it alone. That would be so helpful.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead, Bob.
at least for mentoring, is it a section you want to do yourself under the contributor site, or do you want to pull in all the information from K community?
I think that should definitely not happen. I think if anything gets pulled in from K community, I think it should be just the mentoring README and that's it.
Okay.
And then everything is new content that shows if I want to do this.
I would lean probably towards just linking back, like, have it be actually live in the contributor site under a mentoring page, and then provide links back to the other things.
100%. That's exactly what I think should happen. Like, I only want to surface, and I can go in and actually, I'm going to take an AI for this. This is my shit. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to take an AI and say that I'm going to make a new issue for the mentoring one. Marky, I'll assign it to you and Ren as well. I'll clean up the issue for the mentoring README page. But really, I think all that needs to happen there is the actual README itself inside of K community needs to be updated and look good. And then we'll just surface that with Netlify.
Okay.
So I guess the help we really need is just making that README and K community look good for this. That would be the AI there, I think.
Okay. I'm going to make a note here. Can you guys see my screen? Do you just see the Zoom? You just see my browser, right?
Yeah, I see your browser.
Okay, cool. Because I didn't want you to see all my other notes that I'm about to pull up. Okay. So Paris, you're going to take this, clean it up, break this out into two separate issues.
I am. Yep, I'm going to break it down, and yeah, we'll be good there.
Okay.
Hopefully, once Edouard's done with his big PR to the developer guide, we'll just surface the entire developer guide as well. So that should cover like the development.md.
Should I reassign this to you, Paris, and then remove?
Yeah, that's fine. Yep. And then that issue will eventually close once I make them more feature-like.
Can I do a double lined?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness that worked. Nope, it didn't. Okay, I'll figure that out later. We have 4 more minutes.
I would like to talk about the design proposal thing quick if possible.
Yes, please.
So if you pop open K community and go take a look at all the open PRs. So I can share my screen if you want.
Oh, I got it.
Okay. And then if you go look at page 2, and you can start seeing them kind design. All of these have been open forever, and some of them are stale, some of them are frozen. But we essentially need to ping all of them and be like, hey, we now use the KEP process. Is this, if you want to keep this open, it needs to be merged quick and then ported over to KEPs because we plan on moving the design proposals over to K enhancements. Otherwise, we just need to close it out. There are also a slew of issues that are essentially the same sort of thing in people updating the design proposals.
So for this PR, you just want someone to poke them, poke the author and say like, you should sit on top of this and get that merged, or you should move these details to the cap. Is that right?
Essentially, it needs to get merged now, or very, very soon, or just closed. Like, is this discussion still worth having? So if you like pop open any of those PRs, you'll see like people have been talking about it. A couple of them have been talking about like sort of recently being like I think 4 months ago. But in general, it's just like, what do you really want to do with this here? It needs to be converted to a KEP anyway.
So does that make sense? Okay, it makes sense to me, but I don't want to be the only one to say.
I can do that, but should I ask the author or should I ask the reviewers and assignees? I'm kind of confused.
I would generally ping the author, but it's like, anyone that's like been active in there. And if you go back,
Okay.
I think one of them has been open since like 2017.
See, what
Right,
I
yeah.
don't get, look at this one.
So
Why would the bot add this when this is...
do you remember when he accidentally pushed up?
Oh, he pulled in that off merge. Okay.
Yeah, so the bot doesn't remove labels like that once they're added. All those would have to be removed by a person, and it's fine. Like I can pop in there and approve that one right now. I just kind of forgot to do it. One sec. Oh, it actually needs to be. There's a conflict in there.
I'll get with Cody. I'll work with Cody on that.
Okay.
And I'll make sure I don't screw him wrong. I mean, excuse me, I'll have to take him down the wrong Git path. Apologize.
Yeah. Bob, I'm sorry, I missed something. You said those PRs with kind design, where they will be moved if they are not.
So, our plan is to move all the design proposals to the enhancements repo, which will live with the caps, essentially what design proposals have become.
Okay.
So we'd like to hit all the open PRs and issues and be like, this needs to be either merged now or closed so we can move all the design proposals over.
Gotcha, makes sense. All right, thanks. I was just adding the note as well, so cool.
I'll poke people around that PRs with kind design.
Okay. So PRs and issues. They're issues as well.
Yep.
And some of
Okay.
them are probably linked to one another, but some of them may not be.
Got it.
When we do actually pull the trigger on the migration, there'll be a lot more things that actually have to occur, but that will mostly be in the enhancements repo.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else? Was that it, Bob? Sorry.
Yeah, that's it regarding the design proposal stuff.
Does anybody have anything else? Okay.
I'm
I
so
can-
happy that y'all are here. That's what I wanted to say.
I really started off shaky on the walk. I apologize.
What?
I feel like I started off like I was like, okay, I got to get this all together because like I didn't realize I didn't have everything prepared.
It's
I'm
great. This is
usually much
supposed to
better
be
prepared.
this is supposed to be a what's going on in contributor experience based on GitHub issues thing anyway,
Well, thank you, everybody. Does
Thank
anyone
you
have any
for your
questions?
leadership.
Too easy. I'm going to stop the recording. I do have. Oh, go ahead.
I do have one thing. I was going to say it would be really cool if, like, once a month or some insert your cadence here, if, like, to the ContribEx mailing list, you or Nald or something like that could just give a little, like, ContribEx triage update. I mean, obviously, you give one in the meeting, you give one in the meeting too, but, like, just on the mailing list. And then that might encourage people to, like, pick things up. Do you know what I mean? And if you want, we can talk about what that looks like. I don't want it, I'm not saying that it has to be anything extensive or dramatic or even like templated. just like a quick and dirty of like maybe like a couple links to the boards and like some stuff you all are working on that you're proud of.
Yeah,
And
we
then,
definitely could do that. I think it would be nice to do something like to say, I had no idea what the hell I was doing when I started this process, and now look what we've done in a few months, and we really need help.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, like I said, like eventually, because our end goal here would be to like help other SIGs with their triage, right? Like, but we need to like make sure our house is in order first. So,
Right.
so yeah, like that would be neat. So that's my 2-second take.
I will work on getting that out. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.